Hey everybody, today we're going to get all nerdy with it, or should I say nervy, and talk about the vagus nerve, what it does, its role in our mental health issues, and some of the ways that we can stimulate it on our own. Now, the vagus nerve is the 10th cranial nerve and a critical part of our parasympathetic nervous system. It's the longest nerve in our body and supplies our organs and our brain with vital information. It controls things like our heart rate, our digestive tract, lung function, our ability to swallow, and even bladder control, just to name a few things. It's pretty important. But it doesn't stop there. The vagus nerve also affects our mental health, and stimulating it has been shown to reduce stress, anxiety, depression, and even PTSD symptoms. They found that when stimulated, we can more easily overcome these pesky mental illness-based symptoms. So even if we feel bad, it's short-lived and we can more quickly rebound. Since our vagus nerve is part of our parasympathetic nervous system, otherwise known as our rest and digest system, when it gets stimulated, it increases what researchers call the vagal tone. And it slows our heart rate and our breathing, and it calms our nervous system down. In 2010, researchers at the Cleveland Clinic found a positive correlation between a high vagal tone and positive emotions and overall good health, meaning that if our vagus nerve was stimulated, we felt better, could more easily overcome stress, and were less likely to show symptoms of depression, anxiety, and PTSD. They also found that mothers pass on their vagal tone to their children. So if my mom struggled with anxiety or depression while pregnant with me, she would have had a low vagal tone and would pass that on to me when I'm born. And the same goes for the reverse, meaning that if my mom had a high vagal tone, she could pass that on to me as well. But unlike our genes, vagal tones are not set in stone. They are easily changed, increased, and improved. And there are many ways that we can trigger our vagus nerve so that we can start feeling better and more calm right now. And my first tip is to expose yourself to something cold. This could be taking a cold shower, dipping your face into ice water, or if you live somewhere really cold, just go outside with like a t-shirt and shorts on. By introducing ourselves to the cold, we are stimulating our vagus nerve, which we know calms our nervous system down, but it also activates cholinergic neurons through our vagus nerve pathways, which is important because those types of neurons use acetylcholine to send their messages. And acetylcholine is the messenger within our nervous system that ends up telling our body to lower its heart rate. It can also decrease inflammation and, in the end, calm us down. I've heard from many of you over the years that by putting a cold washcloth on your face or even holding ice in your hands, that you're able to stop yourself from dissociating or having a panic attack. And I'm going to be honest, I always just assumed that it worked because cold is jarring or shocking to our system. But it turns out that it's because that exposure to cold stimulates our vagus nerve and calms us down internally. Science is just so cool sometimes, right? Okay, let's move on to my next tip, and that is to massage your vagus nerve. Now, the key here is to be gentle. Deeper and harder isn't necessarily better and could potentially cause us harm. So with a light touch, find your trapezius, that muscle above your shoulder, and kind of give it a little bit of a massage. And then run your hands up, both sides of your neck, going up toward your hairline, so even behind your ears here. And you may want to have some lotion or oil so your hands slide more easily, but take time doing this. And you can go up and down your neck really gently until, I'm not going to lie, you start to feel some relief or relaxation. I love it. And you can also focus solely on that skin behind your ears. This is my favorite, you guys, and I learned this from this woman, Christina Warren, that I've been following on Instagram for years. She used to be an acupuncturist and she's always sharing like self-massage techniques. Anyways, you place your fingertips on the skin behind your ears and pull gently up and down. And I personally like to put 2 fingers in front. I know it seems kind of weird, but 2 fingers in front and 2 fingers in back and kind of rub up and down and do it that way. And the thing that's kind of funny is I used to do this without knowing why. And when I found out that it was stimulating my vagus nerve and calming me down, I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty amazed. Our bodies can be so cool sometimes, so give it a try and let me know if it helps. My third tip is to sing, gargle, suck on hard candy or chew gum, or even hum. Because our vagus nerve runs along the side of your neck and is connected not only to your vocal cords, but also the muscles in the back of your throat. So doing these things can again stimulate our vagus nerve and increase our vagal tone, which again, I didn't know until doing research for this video, and it's no wonder that I've always found singing to be just so incredibly calming. If you didn't know, I sang in choir all through middle school, high school, and college, and when I graduated, I went searching for another choir to join because I just missed it so much. Now, obviously, that could be partially due to my love of music, but it could also be because it's calming to my nervous system and increasing my vagal tone. Now, this next tip really shocked me. Probiotics have been shown to stimulate our vagus nerve. I know, it doesn't make any sense to me, but research has demonstrated that having healthy gut bacteria improves brain function. It positively changes our GABA receptors, which those are the receptors responsible for most of the messages being sent and received in our brain and our entire nervous system. And it reduces our stress hormones. Now, I've talked with a few microbiologists in our community, and they let me know that the best way to get probiotics into your diet is using things like yogurt or fermented foods like kimchi, sauerkraut, or even kombucha, not in pills or in any dried out supplement. I guess the act of drying it out can actually kill the bacteria sometimes and make it ineffective, so just a heads up on that. Another tip for stimulating your vagus nerve is to try and sleep on your right side. Since our vagus nerve runs down the right side of our neck, research shows that sleeping on that side can actually activate it, and we can get all the benefits of it being stimulated by simply sleeping on it. And I don't know about you, but I love when I can do something good for me by just sleeping. It's amazing, right? So see if that works for you. Oh, and the same research also found that sleeping on our backs is the worst for our vagus nerve stimulation. So if you can, try to make it more comfortable for you to sleep on your right side. I mean, personally, I put pillows between my knees so they don't hit each other, and I even hug one sometimes too. So do what you can to shift your sleep position and see if it helps you feel better. And my final tip is to get yourself a vagus nerve stimulation device like gammaCore. Or some people even get a device implanted near their collarbone that runs wires to their vagus nerve, and it stimulates it using mild pulses of electrical energy. It's kind of similar to that of a pacemaker. And they call this treatment VNS, or vagus nerve stimulation. And I had one patient that I saw in the hospital who struggled horribly with her depressive symptoms and suicidal thoughts, and no medication or therapeutic treatment worked. Didn't improve anything for her. But once she had her VNS device implanted, for her, it took her suicidal thoughts away, and she felt so much better. It was the only thing that worked for her, and it was completely life-changing. So talk to your psychiatrist, get checked out by your regular doctor, and see if it could be an option for you. I hope you found this helpful. This was so interesting to research and to find ways to stimulate our vagus nerve and help us feel better, because life comes with ups and downs, but these tools and techniques can be added into our list or our tool belt and used when we need them most. And I linked all of the research articles in the description if you want to learn more. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.